Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are. That's a lot of questions, and that's a lot of followers. My name is Herbert Doskowitz. That's H as in hostess, E as in Entenmann, R as in Russell Stover, B as in... I'm from a little city called Pine Beach on the south shore of Long Island, New York, but now I live in the North Shore. I prefer the South Shore a little bit better, because the North Shore is a lot of rich, snooty people, but the South Shore, that's where you have the down-to-earth, good-natured, easily annoyed people. Oh, I missed the sidewalks. You know, Pine Beach, you had sidewalks everywhere, but now on the North Shore, you have just street. You're walking down the middle of the street, and these kids zipping and zooping on the e-bike doohickey things. It's a madhouse out there. I was 5 years old, and my bubby was tucking me and my older sister Lorraine into bed, and she was just about to read us a bedtime story when my Nona came busting in the door, and she yelled at my bubby. She said, "It was my turn to read to the children." And then they started arguing, and it took so long that we ended up just falling asleep. I plead the fifth. For the longest time, it was my bubby's Hamantashen, but then I discovered Malamar's. And I never went back. It was very lovely growing up, you know. I had my bubby and my Nona. My parents were working quite a bit. My mother was a school nurse. My dad was a sort of jack of all trades. But sometimes my dad would bring me onto work trips, and I'd get to see, you know, him doing some plumbing or painting or car assembly stuff. It was very fun. Oh yeah, definitely. I think so. I remember he invented a set of tools and a few maneuvers that he patented to be able to fix a car and access the engine through the trunk. Because I remember this one time he had a client and he drove his car through a wall in his house. So my dad just had to work through the trunk, and he had his tools that he invented, and he never told me how exactly he used them. But that's where I learned the first rule of invention. A good inventor never shares his secrets. Oh, I think that's a magician. When I was 18 years old, fresh out of high school, my mother was having an issue where her petunias would go missing, and then they'd go right into the neighbor's yard. She'd find her petunias growing right there in the neighbor's yard. And at first, I thought, oh, it's those pesky bees. They're propagating there, doing their little bee dances and spreading the flowers everywhere. So I developed a plant protector, which was like this little plastic baggie you put on top of the flowers, keep the bees away. Turns out that my neighbor was just stealing the flowers, and I didn't really sell any plant protectors, so that was a bust. Right after the plant protector, I invented the sleep cycle, which I basically just took like a bicycle wheel and mounted it on top of my footboard on my bed, and I'd pedal through it. I had really bad restless leg syndrome, and so it helped a bit to, you know, cycle through the night. And I was selling it to, you know, as the sleep cycle to deal with restless legs. And then this guy, I think his name was Richard S, I'll call him Richard Simons or something like that. He came to me with a deal, and he bought the rights to the sleep cycle. He made it the Go cycle, and he made a bunch of exercise tapes, and I got plenty of residual checks. I got a percentage of the profits, and I was able to make a good decent living with that. And now you see all these modern inventions like the QB and the other one, and I'm just thinking, where's the originality? You know, you got the sleep cycle, why go any further? A lot of my later inventions just started being about food. I had the cucumber stylus. It was MIDI cucumber that's compatible with touchscreens. And I had the chip and dip which is the party sub that it has the chips and the dip already inside of it. You could customize. Then I went on a trip to Spain, I remember, with my sister Lorraine and her then husband Audie. And I found out about tapas and taperias, and I said, oh, this would be wonderful in America, and that's what I did. Max and Paul's candy store is the taperia I own. It used to be a candy store owned by these two World War I veterans, Max and Paul. I ended up buying the candy store from Paul in the 90s, and I just didn't get around to changing the name, but I made it into a taperia, and I put it in all the little sides. I like the idea of just being able to nibble on the go. So you get your nibbles in, you get your little snacks. We offer over 30 different types of latkes. It's very nice. We order, of course, the chip and dip, which is there. A lot of sides, cream, spinach, corn, whatever you want. You go right in and you get your tapas. My nephew Darren actually manages it now because I'm away. I'm not there in Pine Beach anymore, but he's doing a pretty good job. Oh, it's wonderful to be an uncle. Especially after Lorraine and Audie divorced, I wanted to be there for my 3 wonderful nephews, and later on all my grandnieces and grandnephews. And I'm still there. I helped Darren manage the restaurant. I've been helping Chris with his film school and filming the acting reels and all that. Scott, he does what he wants, so I've been supporting him in this crypto journey and looks maxing. I honestly don't understand it, but nevertheless I support him. Oh no, I could never have children. With my current girlfriend Kathleen, she wants to get fur babies, as she calls them, but they're like cats or dogs, and I say, oh no, I'm not good with poop, I'm not good with scooping the poop, I'm not good with kibble, feeding schedules, I can't do it. So, no. My plans for the future are to learn more about my new nephews and nieces through this online platform here, and get to know them and how I can help them, and yeah. Invest in your local businesses. Buy tickets to your local arcade. Buy tickets to your local amusement park. Buy tickets to your local movie theater. Or just go to arcades and amusement parks. I like the crossword. I like Sudoku. I like doing the Sudoku on the crossword. I like doing the crossword on the Sudoku. I like painting by numbers. I like Scrabble. I like painting the Scrabble tiles as I put them on the Scrabble. And then I like putting those painted Scrabble tiles on the Sudoku. That really mixes it up. Otherwise, I like taking care of my avocado plant Clancy. Throughout high school and college, I was in a little barbershop quartet called the Chicken Franchisee Boys. I was the bass, so I do a lot of the do, 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 do. And we were called the Chicken Franchisee Boys because every Saturday night before rehearsal, we'd meet at Gito's Pizzeria and we'd order the chicken franchisee, each one of us, and we'd, talk about our gigs and school and all that jazz, and it was a really good time. I miss those days, mainly because I had a lot more hair back then. I met Frankie Valli once at a kosher deli, and I said, Mr. Valli, I love you. I love your music. I love the Four Seasons, Mr. Valli, but I love your falsetto, but you need more bass. And I would love to be that bass for you. And I auditioned for him right there. I did Who Loves You? Dodo. 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 Do, 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 do. He said no. I make sure to take my medication every day. I go to the pharmacy each month to fill it. I get a value-sized bag of M&Ms, value-sized bag of Skittles, value pack of Necco wafers. I try to buy a whole box of them if I can. And then, I gotta take them. But the thing I do that keeps me the most healthy, every morning I drink a carton of beef gravy. And you gotta drink the whole carton, because if you don't, if you leave some behind, you're missing out on key nutrients. My favorite color is clear, because clear is the most effective color. It's the most efficient color too. You put clear on top of anything and it becomes that color. So you could put clear on black, white, red, blue, other colors, and it's just a good color. It's very efficient, and that's why I like it. It's good for business. Anything by Tom Clancy. Oh, I love Tom Clancy novels. That's where Clancy my avocado plant got his name. I named him after Tom Clancy. I'll just go into 7-Eleven or the grocery store, the convenience store, the pharmacy, and I'll just buy out all their Tom Clancy naval action packed suspense books. And I could read them anywhere. I'll read them, in the car while I'm driving. I could read them on the bus, in the park, at the store. I could read them at home. Oh, I just love to read Tom Clancy. I would love to visit Bergen County, New Jersey. I've only been a couple times to Jersey when I was a little boy, but, I've never been to Bergen. I've heard good things. Oh, you said country. Oh. Okay. Actually, my nephew Scott, he introduced me to these things called memes. And they're these little inspirational quotes. They're with like little visuals on them. They're very entertaining, but they're very motivational. So one I remember, goats are like mushrooms. If you shoot a duck, I'm scared of toasters. Very deep, very profound. Oh, no. No pineapple on pizza. Mac and cheese on pizza, though. Oh.